Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. To the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. Standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. So let us dance this night away.
Good evening and welcome to Be More Super Live. I'm Brian, your host, and my co-host Dan. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. What you been up to this week? What you been doing?
Oh, do you know what? I've had a week off work, and I've got to say, my wife really has missed me since I've been back at work. I would say it's because she loves me, but it is not, because this week I've been a proper man doing DIY.
Oh,
I've had hammers in my hands, screwdrivers. I've been watching some amazing stuff on Apple TV, The Foundation, amazing show. But yeah, that's about it. What about you, Dan?
I've been catching up on The Walking Dead. Now, I was one of those people that when it became media, when people was talking about it, when we had the big Negan scene in season 6, I thought, right, I'm going to start this show. Let's do it. And then we got to COVID. I don't know if you remember. They took the mid-season break. They came back, and then it took a break for COVID, and a lot of us never really picked it back up. So I thought I'll give it a go because there's some new material out. There's some new bits. And God, what happened to that show? What happened to it? It
do you know
kind
what?
of lost its way a bit, didn't it?
It got better towards the end. I think it was like it just went downhill, and then it started to just lull, and then all of a sudden it got a bit better. But I think they are squeezing every little bit out of that franchise, because you've got the Negan show now, Dead City, I think it's called, and then you've got the Daryl show. What else? Zombies are going to have their own show. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, but what a packed show we've got this week. So thank you everyone that's viewing right now and listening. Please share, like, and subscribe. I always laugh when I say that because I feel like a right YouTubing, streaming person. Yeah. And
you sound
I'm not
like
that.
one.
I know. But seriously, like, share and subscribe and share with your friends. Get involved. If you want to comment at any point, please make a comment on whatever platform that you're watching on or listening on, you can actually make a comment and we could put it on screen. But very, very shortly, we have got the awesome people from Propstore. We've got Megan from Propstore that's going to be joining us very, very soon because of The Expanse, which, Dan, you've never watched The Expanse, and I'm literally so shocked because you come across as an Expanse type of guy. You know, you like a bit of Expanse.
I tell you what, I've spent a lot of weeks trying to catch up on stuff, like especially during this show. So you mentioned talking about you mentioned Hijack with Idris Elba. Sat and watched that. Loved that. That was great. Stressed me out the bit at the beginning because, you know, as you know, Brian, I'm quite tightly wound, and getting on a plane, I find one of the most stressful things in my life. And the first 20 minutes of the faffery of people not sitting, you know, you just walk up to a plane. It's a numbered tube. You get on, put bag up, sit down. Everybody seems to be unable to do that. So the first 20 minutes I found quite stressful. After that, lovely piece of television. Really enjoyed it. And there's been a few movies I've sat and watched, and you know, I've been trying to catch up on various things. So I've added Expanse to my list. And I've still not gone to watch Barbie and or Oppenheimer yet. So I've got that to come at some point.
Do you know what? I'm really shocked to find out that Indiana Jones and Mission Impossible 7 are both set to lose over $100 million from losses from the box office. But like someone said to me, is that we can't afford to go to the cinema. Prices are going up and we can't afford anything. Larry Goodman, Larry. Dirty Monkey, as he's called to his friends. Larry is there saying Invincible returns later this year, which is that cartoon, I think, on, or should I say animation, on Amazon Prime, which is for
it's
adults,
honestly
which
wonderful.
is awesome.
A really very good program. If you've not got around a series 1 of Invincible, give it a go. And then also we've got the Boys spin-off coming out. I think it's in the next few days. That actually looks pretty impressive.
Gen Z? I think it's
Gen
called.
V.
Gen V.
After Vought, and the thing that they pumped them full of. There was an animation that came out not long ago, and there was and then there's the spin-off coming out soon. So big excited about that.
The Boys, I think it's fantastic. It's like literally, it's like a kids show for adults, and it's like a superhero. It's just great. I mean, it's so risque, especially the episode of where the guy miniaturizes himself, and we won't go into too much detail.
The first 10 minutes of season 3 made every man wince across the globe.
It certainly did. But you know what? I wanted to give you a bit of a taste. So you're going to get into The Expanse, and we're going to talk about the Expanse auction. The Expanse auction that Propstore has currently got going live from the 8th of August to the 29th of August, and we're going to see a few of the screen used props and costume pieces very, very soon. But let's give you a bit of an idea of what you'd be looking forward to.
Good luck.
You never say that before a fight. You say good hunting.
So I'm going to turn this down a bit so we can actually talk about the Expanse, Dan, because this show has been going on for 6 seasons, and obviously it's ended now, but the way it finishes in season 6, I've got to say, it opens it up to maybe revisiting this sort of show later down the line. And the wonderful people from Eagle Moss Limited sent me a massive scale model of the Rosinante, which is the big ship that they've got, which I was actually going to bring up here, but it's a bit too big to show you. But it's just a fantastic show. It really, really is. The fact that it's won so many awards. I mean, after season 3 actually got cancelled, believe it or not.
Okay.
And the fans got behind it. There was a massive movement, one of the first of its kind. And Amazon actually picked it up. And Amazon haven't looked back since, because it's done so well, won so many awards. The cast is just epic in it. Oh, he's going to hit him. There we go. And it's just a great story. It really, really is. And I'm just looking forward to this. Oh, she's dropping. Look at the effects in that and that suit. So when I was talking earlier on about the power suit, that is the power suit that she's got on. So that's Bobby Draper, amazing character. But what an absolute! There's no more. So I think this ended, if I'm right in saying, 2022. I think last year it finished with season 6. So if anyone's watching and they want to see, I've had quite a lot of the cast on, from Wes Chatham, Shoray, Dashlu, Thomas Jane, about 11, 12 the best shows that I've ever seen. And they've even said that they've even had videos on YouTube where they've had people from NASA actually watch episodes of it, because there's some dodgy sci-fi. But you know what? I think it's nearly about time to get the lovely sponsors of this show on to chat about this awesome auction. And we've got the lovely Megan. I think Megan is ready. Are you ready, Megan?
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. Let me just turn your mic slightly up. So if you want to introduce yourself and what you do at Propstore before we start talking about the Expanse.
Wonderful. Well, my name is Megan Hensley. I'm the Director of Asset Management here at Propstore, and I handle everything studio related. So when we get a title in that a studio is interested in auctioning, then I work with the studio to grab those assets and organize them into what you see online right now at propstore.com/the Expanse. You'll see all of those lots put together. Sometimes I'll pair things together that were used by the same character. Sometimes I'll put together a set of armor that may have been in pieces, not this one. But some of the ensembles that were put together for, some background things like the series station belters and that kind of thing. I put all that together and then create an auction for you guys to bid on.
That is awesome. So let's talk about The Expanse, because this show has gone on for 6 seasons. It's just one of the best shows ever. I was gutted when it finished. And as a massive fan, when I saw this advert pop up on your website and through my emails, I got so excited, because it's one of those shows that you wait so long to find out if you guys are going to be doing an auction for The Expanse. So where did all these props and costume pieces come from? Did they come from the studio, or is it from collectors?
They certainly did. No, they came directly from the studio. That's what we do. We work with the studios, and I made a trip out to the location, and I went through bins and containers of items in order to select exactly what you see on our auction site. So, whoops, so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's live. It's
primer.
Fine. So
I know. I have my cup of tea.
It's probably one of your friends telling you that they can see you on the internet right now.
That's exactly what it is. I'm getting pinged several times right there.
Megan, my name's Dan. Welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for joining us. Can you give us a rundown of what you've got there behind you? All this looks fascinating. Sure. Brian's just read me out for the last 10 minutes for not having seen this show, so I could do with having a bit of a crash course in what's happening there.
Mm-hmm. No worries. I'm going to add you. I'm helped by my colleagues here, Charlie and Jamie. They're helping me in the background, so I wanted to give some kudos to them real quick. And Charlie's going to go ahead and zoom in here on the first ensemble. We have Amos. So this is Amos's Baratnus gas and overalls. Basically, he's got his gloves. He's got his Tachi rifle harness, pistol. And then we have with them, I'm sorry. Let me get my specialty gloves on here, because we always like to treat everything with yes, with these are museum pieces, so we want to be very cognizant of how we treat our lovely pieces here. So as you may not be aware, and I'm trying not to ruin anything because I know one of you has not watched this. Anyway, but in episode 2, they go and hide. So we're episode 3 or something in the first season. They go and hide at a particular station, and the person who leads that station turns their or gives them a fake identity, basically, to hide this Martian ship. And the Martian ship was originally named Tashi, so that's why you'll see a few of these products that have got this name on it, and then they rename it the Rocinante, which you'll see the Rocinante, and you'll see that on our website frequently, a bunch. Even if you type in that search name, you'll see a list of stuff that's from that ship. One of the fun things, though, that we have is the mag boots. So this particular jumpsuit comes with these mag boots, and they are lit right now. You have to press a button on the inside to get them off. But this is how they indicated that these were magnetic and could walk on the surface of the ship without, falling because of the anti-gravity. So this was one of the scientific things that they were exploring. And I know you mentioned NASA. If NASA can solve this issue and solve that so that everything can be, well, I'm sure they've solved most of it, but some of the things that they created on the show just scientifically to explain some of the space travel was just absolutely amazing. Mag boots was one of them. And then everything else in the show was supposed to be magnetized too. So you'll see them, they'll have a bulb like a cup, and they'll just place it in the air because, of course, they're an anti-gravity and it's just sitting there in the air. I love how the show did that. But anyway, sorry, I digress. So this is Amos's second uniform that he wears. The first one he uses is from the Canterbury, and in the Canterbury he's got his lovely ID. I'm trying to get in closer without the shadow. Can you see that? It's got the actor's likeness on it. It's a perfect ID from the Canterbury, and you'll see a few of these from the main characters too. I'll go ahead and bring that back. So this is Amos. Amos is one of my favorite characters. I'm sure you guys will share that, as well as, of course, Miller, played by Thomas Jane. Miller's got his holster. We don't have his pistol, unfortunately. I think somebody from production probably gathered that for a little little piece of the production, but we do have his hat that he steals from Simba, which, he claims that he wears because he wants to keep his head from the rain on a spaceship. And his 3-piece signature suit, and he even comes with a belt. And then over here, of course, is our darling. I did turn off the lights, but I wanted to show you, and we can deep dive into this a little bit more. But there are this thing lights up in various different ways. Let me get this one on back here. So I'm not going to turn these ones on because they'll just blind you. But this is Draper. Draper is one of our, of course, beloved main characters, and this is the MCRN Goliath armor. We only have 3 of these for sale, so you definitely want to bid on one of these because they are just absolutely amazing. They're made of a really dense foam. They've got the undersuit, which of course is bulletproof, according to the show, but I won't deep dive into that too much here. And then lastly, we've got Kara wears this as drummer, and drummer's suit is just indicative of your belter, your classic belter. They wear these vac suits, what they call vac suits, kind of swimsuit neoprene fabric with harnesses. She's got a pack back here, and she's got her helmet. So the attention to detail on all these is just incredible. The costume department, the props, they did such a great job collaborating, creating the feel of this universe, especially, and you can see it especially in these spacesuits. And then, of course, some fun stuff down here. We have one of the rifles, the MCRN rifles with the bullets here. In fact, is this Amos's, Jamie? No, okay, sorry. Amos has got one very similar, but it comes with a bullet train, so it looks very similar. His is more of a, I believe it's got a grenade launcher attached to it. But we have quite a few of these online. We have Alex's medical equipment, and with this piece is an iPod that you can play with, but it also comes apart. So, and
I really hope that was supposed to come apart there, Megan.
it is. In the show, he says he's convincing the Belters, "Hey, I need you to put your arm through in there," and they're like, "No, no," and he's like, "No, seriously," and then he eventually, I think it's actually maybe even in season 4 when he's on that planet where he's got to also do. So this shows up a couple of times, which is kind of nice. And it even says Mars built back here. So, I mean, the graphics designer that had to put all of the stuff on here, amazing job. There's just so many, and I'm sure she had a ton of fun with it. We have Atachi, again, that name, which is the old name for the Rocinante. Atachi holster there were specific guns that went in, that appeared on the Rocinante that the main characters used. And this one happens to be a rubber gun. So it does have the orange tips that we have to add in order to ship it. But this one is in particular, I think this is Naomi's. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting confirmation because there's quite a few of these things. And then we have drapers. I love these things. So we got quite a few of these things, and unfortunately, this does light up. You can't see it in this light. I've already tested; it's just too light in here, so I apologize. But so Draper uses this one as the civilian when she's on Mars, and it comes with a vinyl cover. Not all of them do, because as you know, in the show, what they use them for. When they're blank, they have them projected up. And so they do all this lovely fancy stuff up here. I mean, kudos to the actors, because you're just like, what are they saying? And they're like, I know exactly what I'm saying, and we're like, I don't know. But this one, you can see the light up just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe if I get a black background here. Black background. See it light up? A little bit red?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, a little bit. Okay, so it does light up. And then what they did for most of these, and I can get into a little bit detail more. The belters are very simple. They're kind of like this, but they have a little kind of light up thing down here. And as you got to know Mars and Earth, and even some of the more outer planets, you see that they become a lot more complex. And so the details of the laser cut that goes into them become a lot more complex, whereas the belters remain pretty plain. And they did that on purpose to kind of highlight the fact that the belters were struggling. So I thought that was a really cool detail. This is Kotir's comm holder. So this is what he uses when he makes an arrest on the Martian that was holding Draper pretty much hostage. So it pops open, and then you can put the comm inside, and then what he does is he just lights it up. There's a button on the top, so it's not magic. But this also goes and blinks. And then along with all these cool props and costumes, of course, we've got some production stuff. So this, I know, is one of those things that everybody who loves this particular actress is going to definitely want. This is actually in a set, so you'll see that it says Expanse. This one says season 2. And we've got quite a few, and we've got one for Fred, of course. And this comes in a set here. And then Aaron White, which of course you know is one of the big bads in seasons 1 and 2. Sorry, didn't mean to give that away. Oh, man, I gotta watch myself. I apologize.
Dan's writing it down right now.
And then the cast. No, don't write it down. It's a secret. He redeems himself. How about that? Sort of.
Do you know what? It's just amazing to see all these pieces just there, because when you said about the amount of detail in these costumes, I mean, I've been to the UK head office of Propstore many times and seen Stephen Lane's lovely collection of spacesuits. And literally, Dan, you will go with me the next time we go down, I promise. And the amount of detail in them is incredible. But with now TV becoming, 4K and high definition, they've got to work even harder to actually make these costumes really stand out. So the power suit, for instance, I mean, I'm in love with it. I really am. And the great thing about this auction is that a lot of the things are actually at an amazing price at the moment, in the way of bids. So
Yeah.
people need to get in and put your bids in ASAP, because I mean the Miller's outfit behind you is currently at $1,200, and then Wes Chatham's outfit there as Amos, that's at like nearly $500. I know that obviously a lot of bidders do wait till the last second, but honestly, I might be putting a few bids in for definite. But as an Expanse fan yourself, is there any piece that is in that collection that has really made your jaw drop that you really wanted to take home?
All of it, really. When we started, we actually started with Ava Sorola's, or Chrissy, as Amos called her, Chrissy's wardrobe. And those saris, I really wish I had put one up back here, but those saris are just, I mean, they're silk saris. The embroidery on them are just amazing. If you have a chance to go online and take a look at some of hers, those are amazing. And then I had a lot of fun with the electronics. We've got a piece that's just a helmet that it's got electronics, but hasn't been tested by Propstore. So that would have to be something the end user would, if they wanted to see if it could light up, they could try to light it up. But I do believe it was acting as a prop. And a backpack that goes with it. The iPod on that backpack has graphics images that you can scroll through, so you can just land on one and have it shown and displayed. So that was actually a lot of fun. It was just anything that lit up, anything that was electronics. We just had fun trying to figure out how to make it work. There was a lot of magnetizing, so there were things that we could just put up on our poles on the outside of the warehouse and see, all right, you just walk by it and there's this piece. I mean, obviously I'm a huge costume fan. So the spacesuits, we have Goliath here, but there's also the MCRN light armor. Those are incredible. The fact that the faces change color, you can change them from red to green to blue to white. I don't even think they even used any that were not red, but you have those options. So that's been a lot of fun. And even Draper's here does change colors too. Do you want to see?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We want to see all of it.
Okay, let me get the changer out here. So we try to make it so that you can reach it.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Yeah. And there's the white. So you have the green, the blue, green, and the red. And the red is typically what you see. And it's all handled by, just a dial back here. Sorry, lots of cords. But it's all handled by a dial. And then when it's plugged in, you can turn these things on. Sorry, it's got a cord that comes up. I have to go find it. But these lights also come on. And then over here, she's got her gun, right? So this lights up here. And what's fun about this is, there's just little things. You can get to the electronics by pulling out this piece here. And that comes back in. And then there's just a button. Just turns off and on. And then here, we've got it. I've been taking this out so that I can get to it. And of course, but there's just a button that turns that off and on. So,
and did all that arrive in pieces for you to assemble?
In a sense, yes. And we had to put it on the mannequin. These come with these Pelican cases that, so it's easy to store and ship, and they will be shipped with the Pelican cases, even though those aren't photographed. And then all the pieces are in there. So it doesn't come with a mannequin. You have to purchase your own mannequin, but this is just a standard male mannequin. So I
think if Bryan did buy this
he wants to wear
like that, he's just going to wear it around the house. Just
I wish that could fit me. It doesn't look like a silverback gorilla size, and Bobby Draper is quite petite. So I probably could try and get my head into it.
Well, the helmet fits me. So
Oh
the
dear. So then I've got no
I
chance.
I mean, yes, she is a taller woman, but she's still pretty. I mean, fits this mannequin who is not big in the waist at all. Yes, there is a point. She's meant to be this force of nature, and so. But I wouldn't feel too intimidated. I would give it a whirl. If you own it, you might as well try it on.
and
Don't
and
be afraid.
and I've got to say as well. So Chrissy's outfits. Show Ray has been on my show a few times. Absolutely amazing
Yeah,
lady. She's so
lady.
regal in real life. But she was saying that
Yeah,
she got gifted one of the outfits from the
she
Expanse.
did.
But she was just
Yes,
mentioning
I
how
know which one.
beautiful they are. And I think the
Yeah,
costume designer was it Joanne
jo-
Hans.
Joanna. Yes. Good question. Costume designer. I'm gonna have him look at it. I do, and I actually met her too. I believe it's Joanne
Yeah, I
with an
think it's
E.
Joanne, and the
I want to
surname
make
begins
sure.
with a
Yes,
H. I'm sure it does.
yes.
But what incredible work on. I've got to ask as well because every time I have Prop Store on the show, I always ask, and I did
Mhm.
ask Chuck the last time he was on. Um, every time you do an auction, there's always a piece that literally does amazing. What piece do you think is going to do really, really well in the auction?
This one.
The Goliath suit, excellent.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, not only is the construction amazing, Bobby Draper wears it. I don't even know how many times.
Mm.
She wears it. I can't. I don't want to say because you have somebody who hasn't seen the show. She wears it
It's
in
okay.
season 6, episode 6. She wears it most of season 2. It's just her signature. I mean, they even make such a big deal about her fixing it all the time. You see it in pieces
Mm.
on the platform. You see her come in with it being floated in this box that we're actually selling the box. And so it's just one of the main indicatives of this is the Expanse. This is what you think of. You think of all of the spacesuits, you think of the helmets, you think of space, because that's what it's 90% centered on that. There's a bit on Mars, which to us is still space.
Mhm.
We're here on Earth, and they do have Earth scenes, but there's no spacesuits in that. And when she visits Earth, I'm not giving anything away with that.
You're all right.
She's wearing
You're all right,
her.
Megan. Keep going.
I know. I'm sorry. She's wearing her MCRN just backsuit or uniform, which we have online as well. So this is just going to be the piece that I feel is going to be the biggest impact, and then anything Amos and anything Holden, really. And then I think that there's going to be quite a few people that just want that little piece of Rocinante. And so there's quite a few. There's some pistols, there's some rifles, there's some bulbs, there's some ship pieces. We gathered what we could. We gathered what we thought was going to be cool to display, because as collectors ourselves, we understand the importance of how is this going to look in my house? How is this going to look on display? How can I show off how much I love this show? So
You know what, Megan?
yeah.
That's a wonderful point. I took to collecting football jerseys, soccer jerseys, wherever I've been. I travel across Europe and watch various soccer games, and I get a jersey, and I'm
Mhm.
having a great time. I go, "This is amazing! Look at this!" And then they're
Yeah,
now just in a box. You know what I
in the
mean? So,
closet. Yeah.
yeah, the store, yeah, the storage is a big important piece of it. But so
Yeah.
give us that website again where I can take a look, because I'll not lie, I can't be trusted around things like this. If you see me,
It's
at Comic
Propstore.
Cons, go on.
You're it's okay. It's propstore.com/the expanse. Even
Mhm.
if you just go to propstore.com, our banners will flash onto that, and you just click right onto that. It'll get you right into that auction. You do have to sign up to be able to bid, so you do have to register to bid. And it'll give you some options like sign here to register or click here to register. Sometimes on every single lot if you're not actually signed in. And then once you sign in, you can see, who's been bidding on what the current bid is. And just like an eBay item, we have a countdown. On that final day is when you definitely want to be paying attention to the ones that you've already bid. But I encourage people to start, because then, you're making your claim. You're saying, this is what I want. And
Now,
you get email
go on.
notifications. You get email
even-
notifications once you've signed it. Yeah.
So when somebody's outbid you 3 seconds to go, you're going to get an email, just to rub it in a little bit. Now, listen, Megan, I want to ask you 2 questions. I want to get to know you just a little bit, so I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first one being, does your house look like this? Like we've got the view of you now. If we went round to your house for a cup of tea, is it just wall to wall full of moving memorabilia such as this?
It's half and half. So I am beginning my own collection. I've got, actually, you can't see it, but I've got a couple pieces over here. I had started when I started to collect something from every auction that I ran, and then it started getting really expensive. So I had to slow my roll a little bit. I do have some pieces that I acquired before Propstore that I really love, but I have to be honest with you. I am a customer. I actually do reproductions and I do historical clothing. So 50% of my house is reproductions and antiques of parasols and hats and costumes from the 18th century and above.
Well, that helps me get to know you a little more. And the second question is, in terms of where you work right now and where you are right now within the, I guess you'd call it store, warehouse, you know what I mean, the lot. I don't know the term. What's your favorite piece? It doesn't have to be Expanse based. I want to know your favorite piece. I want to know the one that you've seen and gone,
Ooh.
oh, I wish I won the lottery. Or can I? Is there a camera covering this? Can I take a look at that? I want to know the piece that catches your eye.
There have been 3 that have come. One that's actually I can't talk about because we're going to be putting it in another auction coming up. But there's 2 other pieces that have come through that if I had won the lottery, I'd definitely buy, and that would be Princess Leia's dress that we had featured last EMLA. And I mean, you can't beat anything from the original trilogy. I am a Star Wars fan too, which is why I love Expanse, because space, everything. I'm also a Star Trek fan too. There's been quite a few uniforms. I love the Discovery uniforms. Those are brilliant. And then Gizmo came through, and I love Gremlins. So that was one that I was like, I gotta have this piece. And of course, he went for, I can't even say how much he went for. And it broke my heart because he had to go and live somewhere else. But he's being well taken care of. So I'm very happy about that. There's so many things that come through that are incredible. And I am so lucky to be able to work on these and be able to touch these kind of things every day and offer them to new homes and offer them to people who really enjoy the show. And the fan base is amazing for this show.
It's enormous.
And I was also heartbroken when it got canceled the second time. It didn't really cancel. I feel like it ended because if you've read the novels, that was a really good point to end. It was meaning if they had to pick a spot, because of course the novels go on and they're a little bit further in the future. So
I'm making notes of how much you're ruining it for me, Megan. I'm just going to make some
I'm
notes.
sorry. I'm just talking about the books.
Do you know
I'm not
what?
ruining it there.
Megan, it is my mission, because Dan has never bought a movie prop or costume piece in his whole life. And me being a collector, and every time, I mean, I'm just remembering you saying that you went through all the bins for this Expanse stuff. For me, that would be like going to Disneyland. Honestly, it would be like, leave me for a few hours. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to take him down to London. I'm going to take him down to the London headquarters, and I'm going to see your face, Dan, light up, because I tell you what,
I can't be trusted.
But owning a piece of history, which it is, I mean, these props are very, very rare, and this is the first time I've ever seen anything from the Expanse come up for auction. And then to have this in your living room, and remember, it increases in value. And I think someone said that you actually get better interest from movie props than you would putting your money in the bank. which
Yeah.
I love. Who are you trying to convince, Brian? Is your
would
wife
say
in the
so.
background now? Is she?
no,
Yeah.
I tell you what, my wife thought I was mad for collecting film props, so I've got a Superman crystal. I've got loads of
Oh,
stuff, and literally, my wife's been trying to get me to sell everything for quite a while, but
oh wow.
she now understands how much things are worth and how collectible they are, and it is like
Mhm.
a very good addiction. I always find myself on the Prop Store's website just looking at what I could buy, where I could
Yeah.
display it, and it's just fantastic. It really, really is. But the auction is
Mhm.
on till the 29th of August. For any
Mhm.
fans, get on there, propstore.com, register, and get your bids in. I'll be watching it very, very closely because there's actually 3 items that I'm very, very interested in, that I'd love to have in my collection. And if I do win,
He's so excited, Megan. Have you? He's so excited. Listen
honestly,
to him.
you want to see me when I go down to Prop Store. You want to see me. I am like literally a kid entering Disney World for the very first time. I'm there with my
Yeah.
T-shirt. I've got a Prop Store T-shirt,
Mhm.
Prop Store hat. I've got
How
my drink
good.
container, and
Uh-huh.
literally, I'm like a kid at Christmas. It's just fantastic, Dan. You'd
Yeah.
love it. You really would. But Megan, thank
Well,
you so. Sorry, go on.
there's no Expanse in London, unfortunately. It's all here in the U.S.
I know. This is what I
So
was gutted about. I was like, what of all the places
you
have it
just
in
have
the
to come out
US?
here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a good
I know.
excuse. But Megan, you've been
There you
great
go.
guest on the show. Thank you for coming on and talking about
Thank
one of my
you.
favorite shows of all time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing,
Of course.
this auction do amazing, because as you said, the
Mhm.
fan base is just incredible, and it's just going to be great to see these pieces go to some really good homes and on display.
I agree.
And for
Thank you
all the
so much. It's been such a wonderful time. I've had
and
such a
for all,
wonderful time on your show. It's great.
of course, and all the management of Prop Store, keep an eye on Megan, and because she's a big Expanse fan, with the pieces going
Sorry.
home with
Thanks.
you.
When you said keep an eye on her, you made it sound like you keep an eye on those cameras in the warehouse out the back because you're going
Oh,
to
we
keep
have
an eye on
cameras
her.
in the. Yes. Are you
No,
kidding?
no. But thank you so much, and thank you for your assistance
Of
in the
course.
background, helping you do all the magic that is here. Maybe we can get a hand in shot, waving
Mhm.
a thumbs up. I don't know if
Wave,
they can do that.
thumbs up, wave
Thumbs
into
up,
the
say
shot.
hello.
Just
We
put
want to.
your hand there. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, fingers.
Thank you, cameraman.
Yes, cameraman.
Cameraman, Charlie.
Brilliant. Right, look after yourself, keep safe, and stay super, Megan.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. We'll see you later.
Oh, that was amazing. You know what? I just cannot wait for this auction, to get to near the end, because you don't understand how high that these items can go up to.
We've had a few comments come through actually. We've got a couple of comments
yeah.
from Mark and from Ross. And Ross was he wrote totally agree in terms of your when you were talking about the appreciation that they go through when they go higher up.
Yeah. And just here, the Razorback flight suit for Show Ray is $2,500 now. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, literally.
Have we just doubled its price by doing this show?
Maybe.
Pretty sure it's at $1,200.
But no, I mean, these costumes, if you look at them close up, you can see the amount of detail and effort. So you think that when like Amos's overalls were currently at $450, that's about 300 quid. And obviously bear in mind as well that if you do bid on an item, you pay that fee, then you pay a percentage on top. So it's a bit like doing a normal auction. So please, if you do bid to register, just read all the terms and conditions. But it's just crazy. It really, really is.
Look how giddy you are. You're gutted
mate,
that that's in the States, aren't you?
Do you know what? When we go down to Prop Store, they've got their auction in November.
Right.
Literally, the last one I went to, I was in sniffing distance of Michael Keaton Batman costume. And honestly, it literally, and you need to bring your white gloves. I forgot to tell you.
Right.
Cotton gloves.
Okay.
I've got my own pair that's in my bag already right now. But no, let's talk about. So, thank you so much, everyone that's watching for the Expanse. Please, propstore.com, get your bids in, get these Expanse goods, and there are some that actually are really good price. You're looking only at a couple of $100 currently, but that big light up suit, the Goliath suit, is currently at $4,000. So yeah. And you've got plenty of time left. That is going to go for a hell of a lot more. Hell of a lot more.
That gave me Forrest Whitaker eye thinking of that.
You think that's bad? Last year's auction, I think I had my hands on a X-wing from Star Wars. I actually held it in my hands, and if memory serves me right, that actually sold for over $300,000.
And knowing where your hands have been,
Shush. No.
Well,
the thing is, I did hold it, and then I thought, you know what, I need to put it back down. This can't be trusted with me. And then I held a sword from Lord of the Rings and Wonder Woman's tiara from the most recent Wonder Woman. Oh, mate, you're going to love it. It's going to be like you want to. Honestly, they've got a coffee machine in the staff canteen that is the coffee machine from Prometheus. You know the film.
Sorry, that just really made me laugh. Where you were listing all these amazing props, and then went, and they've got a coffee machine. And
they look after you.
Tell me more, Uncle Brian. Tell us more campfire stories.
They look after you. But funnily enough, I tell you what, we've got just a few minutes before we need to move on. The first time I ever went to Propstore, I had a backpack on, and I went through their front door, and as I turned to let my mate through, my backpack hit a mannequin, and this mannequin literally tipped halfway and nearly fell over. I caught it. It was only Russell Crowe's screen-used gladiator outfit.
Jesus, Brian,
and then literally, I said, "I'm so sorry," and he went, "Well, it's fine. If you break it, you pay for it." And I said, "How much?" And it's like $100,000 or whatever it was.
Brilliant.
And I was like, "Now I go in there like a cat." Like literally, yeah. I've got mittens on
with your gloves on, ready to go.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention next week because we need to wrap this up. Oh no, before I do, I've got to say for any Warrior Nun fans out there, some great news. Literally, all these fans. Hundreds of thousands of fans had been waiting for weeks for this announcement, and this announcement took place. I think it was 2 a.m. in the UK. But the world was waiting because this show got cancelled by Netflix. There was a big uproar. The fans paid for billboards outside of Netflix's offices. They did loads of stuff. It was amazing. It was like a military operation. So Dean English, the executive producer, released a video at 2:00 in the UK this morning to announce that Warrior Nun has been saved. It's not going to be a series, but it's going to be a trilogy motion picture franchise. So they can't go into details because of obviously the strikes and the writers' strikes. But how amazing is that? The fact that the fans got behind it so much that they've listened, and now they're going to turn it into 3 movies, which I'm sure we'll cover. Again, that's another show that you need to watch. Which
I've got such a big list. I've been, I'm about 4 or 5 shows in, and my list has just tripled in size. And you know what? I kind of like all this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen such an amount of programs. It's not like I'm like new to the entire genre or the entire thing. I do another movie podcast. I'm watching things, I promise, but everything seems to get longer as the days go on.
Well, the thing is, the great thing about Warrior Nun, there's 10 episodes season. I think it's 10 episodes season 1, or is it 12 episodes? It's around that, and then obviously 8 episodes for season 2. So you can do that in a day. You could do it and just get some Red Bull. You'll be fine. So hopefully we'll get some of the fans on the show to discuss the potential of these 3 movies, what it means. Are they going to have the original cast? Our thoughts, the pros and the cons. Because it's going to cause, well, it has caused a lot of heated conversation already on Twitter. Lot of heated conversation. So I'd like to give everyone, a platform where we can get them involved Talking Live,
Let's do it.
etc. And then next week, this is what I'm really excited about. We've worked our magic, and we've got a guest next week that literally I've been a fan of his work for many, many, many years. I did interview his other half a little while back for a film called The Layer. If you know who I'm talking about, he directed Dog Soldiers, which again, one of the best British horror films of my generation.
It's so wonderfully British. I really, like I can't explain it, but it's very British. That's not tea and crumpets and long shadows and a cricket field. It's how British people actually do interact.
Yeah.
It's very similar on the vein of that. What's that one with Danny Dyer, where they're on like a stag do in the middle of nowhere and they get attacked? But it's a similar vein, but not the same. It's a great movie.
Oh, it's just fantastic. And then obviously he directed The Descent, which we're not going to mention The Cave, which came out sort of at the similar time with Cole Hauser. This is better. And I'm not just saying that because we've got the director on next week. But The Descent literally petrified me. The crawlers in that movie I thought was amazing. Craig Conway, who was also in, let me just take this off, the director's other film, which was Doomsday, which again, fantastic. And it's, of course, Neil Marshall. So Neil Marshall is going to be joining us next week. So I will be putting an event on our page, on our social media. Get involved, get your questions ready, because I cannot wait. I just wanted to put this on. Ross Cooper, honestly, it's an amazing place. Going to see Propstore before the auction. It's like walking into the chocolate factory. It is, literally. And that's a picture of him in front of one of the displays at Propstore. It is, honestly, it's funny because when you go, you see grown men coming out with massive smiles on their face, and you just think to yourself, what the hell is in there? And then you go in and you think, it's just magical. It really, really is.
When I went to Manchester Comic Con a number of years ago now, about 10 years ago, and somebody had made little reproduced batarangs. You know, they were around it would have been around the Christopher Nolan Batman time. And they'd made these little batarangs, and they were like $5 each. And so I thought I'll treat myself to one. And then since then, me and my mate Dan, when we've gone out and we've referenced how much things cost, we reference it in how much batarangs cost. So, for example, how much is it a pint in there? It's like 1.5 batarangs, fam. You don't want to go in there. You know? It's a nice pair of trainers, what you got there. This was 30 batarangs. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I can't be trusted in places like this.
We've got a comment there from Eric. I went there with my wife once. Oh, that's brave. And it's amazing. My favourite suit is the Event Horizon. So
That would terrify me having that in my house.
No, literally, when you go in, so Stephen Lane, the CEO, has got a fascination with space outfits, like spacesuits. So he's got like Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis's spacesuits from Armageddon, the screen used ones. And then he's got them from Sunshine. He's got them from Event Horizon. And literally, they're just amazing. They really, really are. So I'm going to take you there. And it's going to be a cheap date. But I'm going to get you to buy something. Literally, you can't leave without buying a prop of some sort.
It depends. It depends how many batarangs it costs.
But I just really cannot go. And then obviously Thomas Derrick. I tell you what, Thomas, hello, thank you for watching. Dan, this guy has got one of the biggest collections of Marvel props I've ever seen in my whole life. Literally, it amazes me. Captain America, he's got everything. And he's got an amazing comic book collection as well, slabbed comic books. But this guy is like literally the Marvel godfather.
It's Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas. Yeah.
Fair play, Thomas. Fair play.
Can
we come round and play in it? Imagine if he just if we went, can we come round and play? And Tom's like, yeah, come round. And then he goes and makes a cup of tea. And then at the end of it, we're stood here in all the outfits, just smashing each other around, and it kind of catches us like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I would for definite. But I think that is about time to end the show. But I cannot wait for next week. I cannot wait to get Neil Marshall on and have a good chat with him. Oh, it said so. Thomas has put collection worth not.
It's worth about 15,000 batarangs. Yes.
There you go. You need to start saving up, Dan. Start saving up.
I shall start collecting my batarangs together.
That is amazing. But Dan, it's been a pleasure as always. I hope you've enjoyed yourself once again. I can't wait to see you next week. And then we're going to come up with a plan of what else we can do within the week with guests going forward. So if you've got any suggestions on guests, obviously the strike is still on. So any directors, anyone like that, please let us know. Contact us through social media. But again, please like, subscribe and share because I love doing this and we want to get you all involved more. But join us next week while we what's that? Thanks for this, guys. I'll follow. Yes, I will follow Expanse closely.
Cheers, Eric.
You better do. But yeah, we'll see you next week for our live chat with Neil Marshall. Cannot wait. I really can't. Right, look after yourselves. Keep safe and stay super.
See you later.